Greetings! Today we're going to talk about World War I, so let's get right into it with the causes of World War I. We've got militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism. You can say in whatever order you want, nationalism, imperialism, alliances, militarism. It doesn't make a difference. Let's get right into militarism. Militarism is a policy of glorifying military power, having a standing army ready to fight at any moment. Now this is going to happen before World War I. Germany's going to build up her navies to compete with Britain. Britain sees Germany building up her navies, and now she's going to spend even more. So I dare you go on Google right now and Google military spending prior to World War I. You're going to see each year that passes, the spending is going to go up higher and higher and higher as it goes. Next, you've got alliances. You've got a defensive friendship between nations. So if nations were to go to war against one another, let's say one nation versus one nation, they go to fight, you can pull my hands away pretty easily, and that battle can end as well. But if you've got alliances fighting alliances, comes in. If you were to pull my arms apart, it would be very, very difficult to do so. Next, you've got imperialism. You've got when stronger nations dominate weaker nations for its resources or for geopolitical position. And you've got nationalism, pride in one's nation, which could help motivate all of these causes. Now, also, you've got a crisis that's happening in the Balkans, the Balkan powder keg. You've got Austria-Hungary trying to annex Bosnia, and you've got Serbia trying to annex Bosnia. Serbians are Slavic, so are Bosnians, so they felt like they had a connection with one another, and the Serbians felt entitled to that land. So, Gavrilo Princip and the Black Hand, a group of terror, goes and they assassinate the Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary, the heir to the throne. Alright, so the war is going to begin because that's a shot that's going to be heard around the world. Okay? So now everybody's mobilizing their troops. You've got great militarism. Russia puts its troops towards Germany. France does as well. So Germany attacks France with the Schlieffen Plan, trying to attack France and go directly to Russia. If it worked, it would have been great, but it failed. Germany was left fighting a two-front war. The Western Front between France and the Eastern Front between Russia. So if you have a two-front war, and you're fighting two superpowers, well, eventually what might happen is the two fronts will collapse on you. It's like a sandwich, and Germany's in between the two sides of the buns, really. Okay. Now, Germany made a crucial mistake there. They're also going to make a crucial mistake with the United States. They're going to have unrestricted submarine warfare. So they're going to sink any ships around British waters without a warning. And they're actually going to sink a passenger ship called the Lusitania that had American passengers on it. America told them to stop. They did for a while, and they started up again. But what really angered the Americans was the Zimmerman Note. Okay, Zimmerman Note was a letter addressed to the Mexicans, trying to enlist them to fight against the United States for the wrongdoings the Americans had against them in the 1800s. It was intercepted, it was decoded, the United States entered the war. Now, all these countries are fighting a total war. So when a nation devotes all resources to war. Now, during your and my lifetime, we haven't seen that yet. Now, a total war, there would be rationing. There would be limits of purchase of war-related goods. So certain metals would be off limits, or you could only purchase a certain amount. Leather products would be limited as well. And a lot of propaganda as well. So you go to a movie theater, you would see propaganda commercials talking about it. Women will also be involved now. You've got Rosie the Riveter, on her guns with her bandana and her, work clothes. Women are working as mechanics, or building machine guns, and building planes, tanks. Car companies are going to convert to creating jeeps for the war or tanks for the war. And obviously women are going to be working in other capacities as well. Now eventually Russia's going to really fail fighting this war, as evidence of the Gallipoli campaign, which I encourage you to look into. So they're going to pull out of the war. But the Allies are so strong at this point that they're going to win. So an armistice was signed on November 11th, 1918. And that is a day that we now recognize as Veterans Day. So now there's a meaning to it for you. Now, the war had a huge cost. There was 8.5 million soldiers dead, 21 million wounded. So that's 29.5 million casualties. Casualties are a combination of death and injury. So land is destroyed, cities are destroyed, people are suffering from disillusionment, despair, trench shock, or shell shock, I should say, and they're going to try to come to a peace. The big four is going to come together: Georges Clemenceau, Woodrow Wilson, Vittorio Orlando, and David Lloyd George. And Wilson's going to propose 14 points of peace. Calls for free trade, no secret alliances, no military buildups, and self-determination. So the right for people to govern and choose their own governments. It gets rejected, and instead the Treaty of Versailles passes in 1919. It creates the League of Nations, which is an organization of peace, blames Germany for the war, forces them to pay harsh reparations, the war damages that they would never be able to pay, and the League of Nations would also rule over Germany until they were fit to do so. Now, this also angers other nations as well, so think about the implications. You fight a war just to make people more angry again, like Italy, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Russia. I'm pretty sure it's planting a seed for World War II.